Iraq conflict, Iran's Rouhani ready to help. Iran is ready to assist the Iraqi government in its battle against extremist Sunni insurgents, President Hassan Rouhani has said. But he denied Iran had sent troops into Iraq to help bolster Iraqi government forces' defenses. The insurgents, from the Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant, ISIS, have seized the cities of Mosul and Tikrit and are moving closer to Baghdad. They regard Iraq's Shia majority as infidels. Iran has close ties with the Shia-dominated Iraqi leadership which came to power after the toppling of President Saddam Hussein, whose power base was the country's Sunni minority. ISIS is a hardline Islamist militant group that grew during the US-led occupation and is one of several jihadist militias fighting the rule of Bashar al-Assad in neighboring Syria. If the Iraqi government asks us for help, we may provide any assistance the Iraqi nation would like us to provide in the fight against terrorism, said President Rouhani at a news conference to mark the first anniversary of his victory in Shia Iran's presidential election. However, the engagement of Iranian forces has not been discussed. Providing help and being engaged in operations are different. Answering a question from the BBC, he said that so far the Iraqi government had not requested help from Iran. President Rouhani did not completely rule out cooperating with Iran's traditional foe the United States in combating ISIS. We can think about if we see America starts confronting the terrorist groups in Iraq or elsewhere. According to unnamed sources quoted by both The Wall Street Journal and CNN, Iran has already sent several elite units of its Revolutionary Guard to help Iraq, but Iranian officials have denied this. Iraq's most senior Shia cleric, Grand Ayatollah Ali al-Sistani, has issued a call to arms to fellow Shias. There are reports that thousands have already joined Shia militias, which could play a crucial role in the defense of Baghdad, says the BBC's Richard Galpin, who is in the city. After taking Mosul late on Monday, and then Saddam Hussein's hometown of Tikrit, the Sunni militants have pressed south into the ethnically divided Diyala province. On Friday, they battled Shia fighters near Ma'dadiyah, just 80 kilometers from Baghdad's city limits. Reinforcements from both the Iraqi army and Shia militias have arrived in the city of Samra, where fighters loyal to ISIS are trying to enter from the north. Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki visited Samra on Saturday. Samra will not be the last line of defense, but a gathering point and launchpad, he insisted during an address to army officers in the city that was broadcast by Iraqi TV. Within the coming hours, all the volunteers will arrive to support the security forces in their war against the gangs of ISIS. This is the beginning of the end of them. Threat to America. U.S. President Barack Obama has said he will take several days to decide what action to take over Iraq, but that no U.S. troops will be deployed there. Any U.S. involvement has to be joined by a serious and sincere effort by Iraq's leaders to set aside sectarian differences, he said. Mr. Obama told reporters that ISIS represented a danger not just to Iraq and its people but that it could pose a threat eventually to American interests as well. He said Iraq needed additional support to break the momentum of extremist groups and bolster the capabilities of Iraqi security forces. In Geneva, UN Human Rights Chief Navi Pillay warned of summary executions and extrajudicial killings and said the number killed in recent days might be in the hundreds. The International Organization for Migration estimates that 40,000 people have fled Tikrit and Samra, adding to the 500,000 people who are already believed to have left Mosul. Many who have fled have crossed into the autonomous Kurdish region. The Kurdish leaders have used the current fighting to take control of territory they have sought to rule for decades, such as the strategic districts of Sadia and Jalala. Analysts say the violence could end in Iraq being further partitioned into Sunni, Shia and Kurdish zones. The Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant, ISIS, has 3,000 to 5,000 fighters, and grew out of an al-Qaeda-linked organization in Iraq joined in its offensives by other Sunni militant groups, including Saddam-era officers and soldiers, and sympathetic Sunni tribal fighters. ISIS has exploited the standoff between the Iraqi government and the minority Sunni Arab community, which complains that Shia Prime Minister Nouri Maliki is monopolizing power. The organization is led by Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, an obscure figure regarded as a battlefield commander and tactician.